everyone. Today we're diving into the intricate dynamics of interacting with narcissists, an area that demands our full attention for a deeper understanding. Have you ever noticed how a narcissist reacts when they realize you're no longer participating in their game? It's a pivotal moment in any interaction with them. Initially, narcissists enter relationships with intense neediness that only escalates over time. While it's natural for everyone to express desires and expectations early on, narcissists take it to another level. They expect you to conform to a role that supports their narrative, often disregarding your own needs and boundaries. Stay tuned as we explore the intricacies of engaging with narcissists, examine their behaviors, and discuss strategies to navigate these challenging dynamics confidently. Understanding their patterns of behavior can empower us to set healthier boundaries and protect our well-being. If this topic interests you, remember to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for our latest insights. Let's delve into this together and empower ourselves with knowledge to navigate these challenging interactions effectively. Narcissists have an insatiable need for validation that goes beyond seeking approval like most people do. They constantly crave reassurance and demand unwavering agreement with their thoughts and decisions, firmly believing they are always right and superior. Any suggestion that others might have better ideas is swiftly dismissed, reinforcing their self-perceived infallibility. Furthermore, narcissists often leverage your reputation to boost their own image. If you're well-respected, they see you as a tool to enhance their own standing by association. They expect you to adopt their beliefs without question and reject any attempts to introduce different perspectives. Their rigid adherence to their own viewpoint leaves little room for meaningful discussion or compromise. In addition to seeking validation and admiration, narcissists insist on your compliance and subservience. They pressure others to support and enable their dysfunctional behaviors and lifestyle choices, creating a draining dynamic for those around them. In the presence of a narcissist, you'll notice a strong dependency on others to fulfill their constant need for validation and reinforcement. This dependency is not just a minor trait but a core aspect of their behavior, contributing to various challenging behaviors and interactions. Initially, narcissists often come across as charming and charismatic, showering you with compliments and gestures to win you over. Their initial goal is to pull you into their orbit, making you feel special and valued. At first glance, their attention can feel sincere, but as time goes on, you start to detect an underlying agenda, a subtle manipulation aimed at gaining control over you. As the relationship progresses, you begin to see their critical side more clearly. They can swiftly shift from charm to anger, expressing anything from mild irritation to intense rage. Even their silence speaks volumes, carrying an unmistakable tension that hints at their dissatisfaction. Narcissists frequently resort to complaints and grievances, sparking repetitive arguments that leave you mentally drained. Just thinking about navigating these dynamics can feel exhausting, right? You often find yourself caught in their peculiar attempts at persuasion, which sometimes feel like bizarre sales pitches. They argue passionately, trying to sway your opinions or actions even when you're not buying into their arguments. Their reasoning may seem illogical, and they're quick to take offense if you don't comply with their wishes. Living with a narcissist can feel like walking on eggshells, always wary of triggering their volatile reactions. Their constant craving for attention and praise often leads them to employ passive-aggressive tactics like the silent treatment, a way to express dissatisfaction without open confrontation. This behavior creates a tense and unpredictable environment where you may find yourself constantly trying to appease them to avoid conflict. As time passes, the pattern of emotional manipulation becomes more evident. Eventually, a moment of clarity dawns when you realize that continuing to endure their behaviors is detrimental to your well-being. This realization marks a turning point where you recognize the necessity of distancing yourself from their toxic influence for your own mental and emotional health. Dealing with a narcissistic relationship prompts deep introspection about its true value. You begin to question whether their presence contributes positively to your life or if it primarily drains your energy and self-worth. It becomes crucial to evaluate whether they are capable of genuine appreciation and mutual respect or if they see you merely as a means to boost their own ego. These reflections become pivotal in deciding the future course of such relationships. Navigating relationships with narcissists can be incredibly challenging, especially when you start questioning their support during tough times. Communication often feels futile as they prioritize their own needs and perspectives, dismissing yours. This can lead to frustration and a decision to stop engaging in their manipulative games, which threatens their sense of control. Narcissists struggle to empathize with others and often expect special treatment while disregarding your concerns. They may even twist situations to paint themselves as victims regardless of the facts while accusing you of ingratitude. Attempting to maintain peace can feel pointless as they insist on having the last word and asserting dominance, revealing their true colors in moments of conflict. In such relationships, it becomes clear that their behavior is not about understanding or mutual respect but about maintaining their perceived superiority. Their immediate response to disagreement is often defensive and self-centered, leaving you questioning why you should stay if they continually highlight your flaws without acknowledging their own. In healthy relationships, there's a natural exchange of give and take. It's essential to acknowledge that no relationship is flawless. Embracing differences is vital in long-term commitments, allowing us to learn what works and what doesn't as we grow together. Openness and honesty play a crucial role in building strong relationships by fostering understanding and mutual growth even when disagreements arise. When individuals communicate openly and honestly, they strengthen their bond, creating a foundation of trust that can withstand challenges. However, narcissistic individuals face difficulties with this approach. Instead of seeing others as equals in relationships, they often view them as tools to fulfill their own needs. This perspective leads them to prioritize their own desires over mutual respect and understanding. Respect is essential for maintaining a positive and supportive relationship dynamic. Narcissists struggle to reciprocate this respect, often reacting negatively to any perceived rejection and resorting to manipulation tactics like guilt and shame to maintain control. Recognizing these behavioral patterns is crucial for navigating relationships with narcissistic individuals. It's important to trust one's instincts and prioritize self-care when dealing with manipulative behaviors aimed at controlling others. In such challenging situations, focusing on personal growth becomes paramount. Knowing when to step away from a narcissistic relationship demonstrates strength and self-preservation even in the face of expected resistance and difficulty. Embodying dignity, respect, and civility is key to finding peace and making informed decisions that safeguard emotional well-being. Understanding the dynamics of narcissistic relationships empowers individuals to navigate them more effectively, promoting healthier outcomes. If you found this perspective helpful, consider liking, commenting, and sharing to support others facing similar challenges. Your support enables us to provide valuable insights that can positively impact lives. Greetings, everyone. We're delighted to have you back with us. Today, our discussion revolves around a fascinating topic: the aftermath of a narcissist's decision to part ways. Before we delve in, show some love by hitting the I like button, subscribing to our channel, and sharing your thoughts in the comments section below. Do you resonate with our perspective, or do you perceive things differently? Let's dive straight into it. Imagine suddenly finding yourself left behind. This abrupt departure typically stems from the narcissist devising a contingency plan, feeling neglected or undervalued in the relationship. They come to realize that you're not meeting their expectations, failing to shower them with the adoration and validation they crave. Instead, they crave admiration and derive pleasure from belittling you. While the narcissist may still express interest, it falls short of the unwavering devotion they seek. But why does this dynamic unfold? because you're growing weary of constantly catering to their self-serving desires. The incessant demands, manipulation tactics, and perpetual power struggles become tiresome burdens that you can no longer bear. Consequently, the primary source begins to evade discussions about the manipulative tactics employed by narcissists, such as gaslighting, deceit, and undermining the victim's significance. Often, these tactics chip away at the resilience of the primary source, prompting them to withdraw. The narcissist's ego is rattled by this shift in dynamics, leaving them feeling unsettled and apprehensive. As they think about the effects of their actions, they struggle with the thought of losing a key source of narcissistic feeding. Seeing their main source show dissatisfaction and sadness makes them feel panicked. Being abandoned, rejected, or thrown away is a scary thought that is always there. Most of the time, the narcissist has already planned for these kinds of situations by making a list of possible replacements or quietly making connections on social media. With everything ready, they quickly shift their attention to what they call Supply B. When Supply B is in sight, the narcissist steps up their game by showing what they say is kindness, love, and sexual allure. They successfully trick Supply B into falling for their lies by painting a beautiful picture of the future. They are masters of manipulation and have become better at it over time. As they treat the main source worse and worse, they lose their good-natured front and show a darker side of themselves. By constantly attacking and finding problems with the main source, they want to show that they are unhappy while also getting close to the backup source. This dishonest behavior helps the narcissist in two ways. In their twisted minds, it makes sense of what they did and sets the stage for their next move. At the same time, it starts a campaign of lies against the main source, the person who used to love and care for them. This smear campaign carefully crafts a negative picture of the main source in order to make it easier for the narcissist to leave in the future. A big part of this plan is making people angry. The narcissist gets material to hurt their image by getting the main source to say bad things about them. This strategy works especially well because the narcissist has built up a front of friendliness and charm among their friends. This image is strengthened by their participation in religious or community service activities, which makes it easier for people from outside the group to believe the lies about the main source. The narcissist's shift in love to a new partner comes from their desperate need to keep up the facade they've worked so hard to build and avoid facing who they really are. Because they don't want to be vulnerable or have their flaws pointed out, they look for a new partner who can keep up the false image of perfection they've created. Narcissists often go through a cycle with other people where they idealize, devalue, and reject them. They have a strong need to be admired and accepted, which makes it hard for them to form relationships that are good for both of them. This cycle never ends, leaving a path of mental destruction in its wake. As soon as a narcissist stops looking for approval, they move on to the next one, breaking hearts and guts along the way. The main character, on the other hand, has to deal with the harsh truths that come to light after the narcissist leaves. For narcissists, the thought of being alone is not only scary, it goes against how they truly believe they are. Their main goal is to give the impression that they are better in every way, whether it's success, spirituality, or general excellence. When they think about being left alone, they have to face their real selves, which is something they have avoided their whole lives. This true self is everything they hate and feel bad about, and it represents their biggest fear. To escape this dreaded meeting, narcissists put up complicated fronts and use a variety of tricks to hide who they really are. But sometimes, no matter how hard they try, they find themselves alone with their deepest selves. When they are by themselves, they have to face the uncomfortable truth of who they are. The weight of their true selves presses down on them, making them desperately want to run away.
They use substances like drugs or booze to temporarily escape the pain of being aware of themselves. Their goal is to dull their minds and blur the sharp edges of reality because they can't stand the thought of being alone without outside distractions or approval. But there are times when narcissists are alone even though they are trying to avoid being watched. During these alone times, they face the sharp difference between the grandiose front they put on for the world and the harsh truth that lies beneath the surface. This meeting with their true self causes them more than just temporary pain, it throws them into a deep existential crisis. These kinds of encounters make them rethink who they are and what their place is in the world. Realizing that they are alone and have lost the image of being all-powerful and perfect that they presented causes a lot of stress and distress. This case shows how fragile a narcissist's self-esteem is, as it depends so much on approval and validation from other people. They feel incredibly empty and useless when they don't have the support of other people's approval. They are afraid of being alone because it will force them to face the truth about their lives without any of their normal defenses. The narcissist's public persona and private truth are very different from each other, and this shows how desperately they try to avoid thinking about themselves. In a strange way, their manipulative behavior, charm, and constant need for outside approval only make them more vulnerable, which is something they work so hard to hide. In their never-ending effort to separate themselves from their true selves, they get caught up in more lies, which makes it harder to find real relationships and acceptance of themselves. It's often said that relationships, especially ones with narcissists, are a lot like sports teams, and the choices their coaches make, they're very complicated. Think about a situation similar to scouting for athletes. The focus shifts to a secondary choice called Supply B, who is praised and given high hopes for the future at first. This stage is like hiring a new player. You have high hopes and are looking forward to the future, but there is a web of lies and manipulation going on below the surface. When you look more closely, it's clear that Supply B isn't even close to the best option, which is called the main source. Even though the narcissist knows this isn't true, they keep pushing Supply B as the better choice because they want to keep up looks. This story makes me think of a made-up city that is having a hard time with their famous quarterback, who we'll call John Champion to avoid repeat. Think about a situation in which John Champion, the city's favorite quarterback and famous for his winning streak, suddenly loses 4 games in a row. As people's faith in Champion wanes, the city starts to question his abilities, which is a common trait of narcissists. As people call for change, the focus moves to a new player, which gives people hope that things will get better. Instead, this newbie doesn't have the experience or skills that Champion does. Let's call him Alex Anderson, because he stumbles through his part like a character from a comedy sitcom who can't even get the basics of the game. The city's hasty response to this change makes people back it at first, but they quickly come to regret it. But pride and the need to look strong keep people from quickly saying they were wrong. Like an ego, the city waits for things to calm down before admitting it was wrong in public. As time goes on, Alex Anderson's flaws become very clear. Each game is full of mistakes, slow reactions, and missed chances, which is very different from what Champion used to do for the team. Before, people in the city were excited about the rookie. Now, they long for Champion's days of success and honor. Behind Champion's back, rumors spread that they might come back, making him more afraid of losing something he used to love. This story is similar to the way things work in selfish relationships, where the person trying to be perfect keeps rejecting and undervaluing their partners. The narcissist can't deal with anything less than an idealized reality, so they are always looking for replacements who can't fill the hole left by the people who left. As an emotional response to a short-lived loss, the narcissist quickly gets rid of Champion, showing that they often make hasty, regrettable choices. Champion, on the other hand, does well elsewhere, like the main source in a narcissistic relationship.
He is a moving memory of what was thrown away too soon, showing how stupid the city's choice was. In the world of narcissism, people who want perfect wins with no setbacks get stuck in a cycle of disappointment and longing that forces them to face the results of their actions. Through the view of a longer metaphor, the consistency shown by some sports teams, like the made-up Dallas Cowboys, shows how important it is to keep going even when things get tough. Narcissists, on the other hand, are always looking for something new and perfect, even if it means sacrificing real relationships and long-term success. This story about making snap choices, then feeling bad about them, and the never-ending search for an unattainable ideal has a powerful lesson that can be applied to both sports and personal relationships. It can be like crossing a dangerous minefield full of psychological manipulation and turmoil when you start dating a narcissist. Because they are always looking for approval, narcissists often get stuck in a loop of rejecting and replacing people, leaving broken hearts and low self-esteem in their wake. No matter how hard they try to avoid truth, there will come a time when the facade falls apart, forcing them to face the emptiness at the center of their being. To get out of this destructive cycle, you need to make real relationships based on honesty and emotional closeness. If you found this conversation useful, please join the conversation by liking, commenting, sharing, and subscribing to our channel. This will help us keep starting serious conversations. With your help, we can build a community where everyone works together to improve and help each other. Thanks for coming along with us on this trip. Everyone, today we're diving into the intricate dynamics of interacting with narcissists, an area that demands our full attention for a deeper understanding. Have you ever noticed how a narcissist reacts when they realize you're no longer participating in their game? It's a pivotal moment in any interaction with them. Initially, narcissists enter relationships with intense neediness that only escalates over time. While it's natural for everyone to express desires and expectations early on, narcissists take it to another level. They expect you to conform to a role that supports their narrative, often disregarding your own needs and boundaries. Stay tuned as we explore the intricacies of engaging with narcissists, examine their behaviors, and discuss strategies to navigate these challenges